What's going on, guys? ChaseWins.com coming to you for Friday, February the 7th. Man, I swear it just seems like it keeps going faster and faster, doesn't it? All right, so Thursday, man, it was a crazy day. I don't think that I've seen so much rain, wind, and just shit weather in one day as I have in the past 24 hours. But hopefully that's all coming to an end now. Still raining a little bit, but hopefully in the morning it will all start to go away because I think we're actually going to see some sunshine. So that's good. Already taking a look at Friday's card. I've gotten the breakdown of all the games done. Still waiting on a few lines to come out in the NBA, two in college basketball, and then a couple in the NHL, which if everything works out in the NHL the way that I want it to, I have already talked to a couple of people on the ground who usually get me the skate around reports, and then usually before it's made official, they let me know, who the starting goalie is going to be. That way, sometimes I can catch the lines before they, go up or down, depending on what side of it I'm on. So hopefully, I'll have that information very early to get those done. And yeah, I mean, Fridays are always my favorite day of the week. I don't know why we don't lose on Fridays. Smaller cards, this time of year to choose from, but we always seem to narrow down a lot of fairly sharp lines, but I always dial in and come through. So yeah, we'll have action in all sports, NBA, college basketball, and NHL. So we'll probably get the card out fairly early tomorrow as long as the information comes through. Let's go over a recap. For Thursday, we had a big card. We did not have a top play. Everything was a premium play, so we flat bet everything across the board, as everyone knows that we do. The only thing that, only time we raise our wagers is when it's going from, a premium play up to a top play, and then, game of the week, month, so on and so forth. So, couple of disappointing games tonight, but all in all, it was not a terrible day. It was not a big day of profit, but we turned a small profit nonetheless, and it's all that matters. So, start out in the NHL, Tampa Bay Lightning, a little bit chalky at 160, but I love the game. The only reason that I did not take this in regulation to get better value is because Tampa Bay plays a lot like Washington does. And if you guys don't watch a lot of NHL, that may not mean a lot to you, but think of it the way the Kansas City Chiefs play. They love to go down early. For whatever reason, they play their best when their backs are against the wall. And Tampa Bay, when they're playing good teams, they tend to do that. And as hot as Pittsburgh's been, I just felt like, okay, Tampa Bay is going to let these guys come out, push them around in that first period, probably go down, and the backs will be against the wall, but I do think they'll come out with the victory. But being that they're not playing, a pushover team, they're playing a very talented hockey team, that's when, overtime can become a lot more likely. And obviously then, taking it in regulation could cost us. So we laid the 160. It come through. Pretty easy win there. The Philadelphia Flyers was the loss that we took today. And that game right there, I was watching it kind of on the side as I was watching another game. I was actually watching the Bulls game tonight. And then I had the Avalanche or the Flyers game on another TV, and they started off down. Obviously, New Jersey comes out hot, gets the quick goal. They get a quick power play, and then they go down 2-0, and that's when Philadelphia really started ramping them up. They were controlling, offensively and defensively. If you go back and look at the stats from that point all the way through the next 15 minutes, they were destroying New Jersey in every stat category. And then every time they started getting themselves in position, they were setting up for good goals, and they just weren't going in. They just laid off. And they ended up getting their asses kicked. They ended up getting beat 5-0. So we did take a loss there. So, can't win them all. But Colorado Avalanche was a premium play, just like I told you. It was the free play yesterday in regulation at -135. A nice winner there on the road. Free plays, I think we've only lost one in the last 14 or 15 actual plays given out. And that was a game that went into overtime. So since last Thursday, I've given out a ton of free plays, live shows, free play videos, Twitter, everything, and they just keep cashing. So congrats to everyone that's been following along and paying attention there. And we get into NCAA basketball. Wright State minus 12 was a push, a bucket away from being able to take that one as a winner. So those are disheartening. I mean, a push is most certainly better than a loss. I will absolutely take that, but it's like knowing that they have the ability to put it away and they slow down right there at the end. That just, God, that eats at me. Northern Kentucky minus 10. They just, they had every opportunity, and they honestly, they got pushed around in my opinion. So they didn't cover that. Appalachian State and a pick'em, nice easy win there. North Florida on the money line minus 115, nice easy winner. Morehead State money line minus 125, an easy winner there. North Dakota plus 3.5, fairly easy win there. They won outright. The other two that were kind of disheartening was East Washington plus 3. The score, obviously, they got beat by 10, but it was right then they were fouling at the end, giving up free throws, and they could not capitalize coming back down the floor. So the score was, the game was a lot closer than the score leads on. And Eastern Washington set themselves up for success. They just couldn't pull through. And then the Houston Cougars minus 16.5. They were really disappointing. They only won by 13. They could have very easily won this game by more than 20. I was disappointed with the way they played in the second half. Just really not a lot of urgency there, but not much I can do about it. And then in the NBA, Milwaukee Bucks minus 9, coming back. Fairly close game up until the later part of it. Milwaukee went ahead and took care of business. The Chicago Bulls, we had them plus 5.5. Now, I did have a couple of people tell me that they got it at plus 6. So good for you if you did. I did not. I got it at plus 5.5. But they started out the game good. They were winning the game outright for a good portion of that first half. And in the third quarter, they were getting beat by upwards of 20 points. Getting destroyed. And they came back, got it all the way, and they ended up losing by 6. So we lost it by a half point to go 1-1 in the NBA. Just insane. But, hey, what are you going to do? Going 1-1 there in a game that they came right back. A lot of people did not like that play. But, people that asked, I told them why that I liked it. New Orleans is basically running on one man to run the team. Zion's just not there yet. Lonzo Ball is, there just for moral support, truthfully. Ingram's really the only one that you can trust to do anything, and he's just not going to go on the road, even against a bad defensive team like Chicago, who was one of the better defensive teams in basketball, who's completely flatlined. You're not going to go out there and take LaVine on his home court and just outscore him over and over and over. He'll figure you out eventually. So I'm okay with that pick. The way they, had that horrible third period and then came back and made it the game that it was, I feel like I was on the right side of that. So, but sometimes even if you're on the right side, it just doesn't come through. So we picked up just a little bit less than a unit. If you, again, rate it by, your flat bet as a unit, you would have probably picked up about 0.3 of a unit, calculating juice and everything in. It's not the day that we're looking for, certainly, but literally we were 3 buckets, and it would have been a complete game changer. 3 buckets. Wright State would have won, the Bulls would have won, and so would Houston. So crazy there. And hell, if you think about it, a bucket at the right time could have put Eastern Washington in position to not have to foul the way they did, and we'd have had 4 more wins. So I'm okay with it. We turned profit. We certainly didn't lose anything, so that's what matters the most. And then let's get into Friday. If you want to be a part of Friday's action, the best betting day of the week, and take you through what's going to be a big weekend, everybody knows that I am traveling on Saturday, going to the Duke, North Carolina game. But Saturday's card will be out before I leave. Sunday, I'm already looking into games for Sunday. There is the potential for another big game of the week or month type play. I'm not going to say what sport it's in, what game it's on, because until I get more information, this is just a game I've had circled for a while. So there is no guarantee there. But it's going to be a big Saturday card, a decent Sunday card, and I think tomorrow's going to be or Friday is going to be a really good card. So jump on, $50 will get you 3 days. That's Friday through Sunday. If you're a newcomer, the best thing that I recommend if you want to just try me out, 7 days for $99. That way you really get a feel for what I do over the course of a week in multiple sports. If you've already been with me before, you want something a little bit longer term, cheapest in the industry, $299 will get you 30 days. Or if you've already done that, now you're looking to go longer term, something where you can really start taking this, and treating it like a business and making a second income, then that would be where you would want to get on a full season pass for whatever sport that you are interested in, or a 1 year all access pass to get all sports, all plays, every game of the week, month, and year are included. Patrick's NASCAR is included in it, which starts in less than 2 weeks. He's got the Daytona 500. Now, I will tell you this. It's like him and I were talking the other day. Like the Daytona 500 is the absolute hardest race to predict because it is so unpredictable. You can go from 20th place to first place in one lap because of the drafting and the wrecks and everything else. But he does study the, everything leading up to it as far as qualifying and practice runs and what race packages they're using and all of that. So he'll be, more than ready for this. But I'll tell you this, if you're on the NASCAR package or you're going to get on it, bet the Daytona 500 small. And then once we get past that and get into races where it's not such a coin toss on some, between some drivers, that's where we get into the serious betting, and you will make, I don't know of another sport that can be so profitable because of the huge plus money that there is out there that he dials in on. Plus 1,600, plus 2,600, plus 3,200. He was hitting those week in and week out last year. So you can get his season pass. It's already up on the site. Or the weekend of the Daytona 500, he will have the race card up that you can buy. So we're going to go to college basketball. This is a 5 p.m. game on Friday. Now, I've said it. I've made it public 1,000 times over that I hate Ivy League basketball. I always have. I always will. But obviously, we know that Yale has been a force to be reckoned with, not only in the Ivy League this year, but on a national scale. They have played very well against very competitive teams, even beating some of those teams. Now, what we have here is usually Yale and Harvard are more of your, and then Penn are usually your competitive teams within the Ivy League. But it doesn't matter. We've had years where Yale's been ranked a top 20 team, and Harvard hasn't even been in the top 100, and Harvard always has their number. Home, away, it doesn't matter. Harvard has owned Yale, not just in recent years, but just overall. So don't think that Yale isn't thinking about that going into tonight. And, being that Yale usually draws a fairly decent home crowd for Ivy League standards, it's been tenfold that this year because of their success. So it's going to be a packed house. These two teams are bitter rivals. The schools are bitter rivals. Who's the smartest? Who's got the best this, that, the best that? Basically it's saying who's got the most spoiled white kids that you can find in one spot is the way I look at it. But Yale's a talented team. They really are. Harvard should be the absolute least of their worries when it comes to whether or not they can pull off a home win. But don't think that if you just go back and look at the last 10 matchups that Harvard and Yale have played, and you see the way that Harvard's owned them, each of those last 10 times, talent-wise, stat-wise, Yale has been twice the team that they are. Each one of the matchups, and Harvard has owned them. This year, with what they're doing and a lot of the people that they're going to be bringing back next year, Yale could be looking at tournament bids and being able to actually get wins. We could be looking at finally seeing an Ivy League team be getting talked about nationally on a regular basis here, and they know it. It's already been talked about by their coach. He has already made a statement about how he is disgusted by the way a far inferior Harvard team has owned his guys. So for him, for the players, for the fans, everything, this isn't about just winning this game. They want to win it. They want to make a statement. They want to embarrass their bitter rival. The line opened up at 6.5. It went down to 5.5 almost immediately, and I get it. I know why, and it's because Harvard has owned them. And if this was just a normal game where Yale was just the better team, I wouldn't touch this game, for any amount of money in the world. I wouldn't touch it. But being that Yale is the team that they've been all year, and every single time you think that, okay, here's where they run into a wall, they come back and they prove that, hey, they're the real deal this year. Harvard's nothing. They've got 5 wins on the season. They're a terrible road team. Now they're going to go into the most hostile environment that they're going to see all year because of the rivalry. And the team, players and coaches alike, have made it very, very publicly known that they want to have a shift in power this game and prove that not only are they the real deal, but Harvard is not on their level, and they're not going to let them get to them this time. So this line's going to go one of two ways. There's going to be money coming in on this game. This is one of the more intriguing matchups for Friday night. Other than Maryland, Illinois, in my opinion, I think this will be the most paid attention, the game with the most attention on it on the college basketball slate. So there's going to be money coming in on it, and it's not going to stay at 5.5. Either money's going to keep coming in on Harvard, and we're going to see a line down to as low as 4, or this line's going to get back up to over 6.5, which is where it should be. Truth be told, this line should be 9.5. That's on a neutral site. I would say, based on what it is, we'll give them, a slight benefit of the doubt and say 11 at home. I'll take 5.5 all day long with Yale, as I think this is one of the few times there's value within the Ivy League, because I really think that there's just going to be a lot of emotion here, where it's not just going to be about the win. It's going to be a statement. So I'll take Yale to make the statement, laying 5.5. Premium play. I just wagered it. If it drops again to below 5, I may throw more money on it. So Yale minus 5.5. That's your free play. Live show Friday, being that power and everything else was blinking, and just a ton of stuff. Kids getting out of school early because of all the weather, tornado watches and warnings, and all this crap. So we'll do that, and then after lunchtime tomorrow, when all the cards done and everything, I'm immediately going to go into hibernation and start hammering down Saturday's cards so I can get it out very, very in the late night, early morning hours of Saturday. So Yale minus 5.5. Congrats on another free play winner and a small winning day, but a winning day nonetheless. Come to chasewins.com. Get on a winning package. I will see you in the winner's circle. And let's go cash some more tickets. Thanks, guys.